Hey everyone, so in this video I'm going to do two ink and watercolor studies of this red-eyed tree frog. Yeah, it should be fun, so let's get started. So this is the palette I'll be using. Pretty simple, just two sets of primaries, two greens, two violets, burnt sienna, sepia. That's pretty much it. And I replaced the Winsor Newton colors with Sminke. I also have two containers of water, one for cleaning my brush and one for applying water. That's pretty much it. And my two brushes, I usually use a size 4 and an 8, just a one for details and one for general application. And of course scrap paper for testing my colors and paper towel for like dabbing my brush to remove excess water. I usually use a regular number 2 pencil or HB graphite lead and a plastic or a kneaded eraser. I prefer a kneaded eraser because it's gentle enough to remove the pencil without disturbing the paint, plus they're fun. And here I'm using a piece of 140-pound roll of hot press watercolor paper. And though it won't buckle, I still tape it down just in case. And this is my setup. I think everyone should experiment to find a way that they're comfortable working, but this is what works for me. Okay, so let's get started. First, I want to share with you guys that this video is sponsored by Graphic Stock. They have one of the largest unlimited download of graphics, photos, vectors, over 300,000 to be exact. And one cool thing I found is that they don't really charge per image as some websites do. Instead, they allow you to get unlimited downloads with their membership. So if you want to sign up, there's an annual plan for 99 bucks, which pretty much gives you unlimited access to all their resources. And you have images that you can use for whatever commercial projects you choose. Or if you want to use them and then later on sell works, you won't have to worry about being sued or anything like that, which is very important if you're considering to sell your work eventually, or do anything that will involve making profit. So it's something that's very important to think about, guys. And be sure to check out the link in the description. It gives you access to 140 images that you can use for whatever commercial projects you may be working on. Now, I guess the important thing about this is that when you're creating work that you eventually may hope to sell, you have to be careful about avoiding copyright issues with images you choose randomly, like by searching on Google or something like that. That's why I don't really sell some of the images that I know that I used from my Google searches, because I know that there can be a backlash. So if you're really serious about creating work that you hope to sell, it's really important that you think very carefully about using references that you have the rights to, if you can't take pictures yourself. So that's something that's really important to be aware of. And by the way, these two images are actually courtesy of Graphic Stock as well. And here I'm just erasing the all the pencil marks before I actually begin the watercolor. So what you're seeing here is I'm actually dabbing the paper towel and I'm trying to lighten the wash because I like working in layers. You can approach your watercolor in different ways. Some people just like mixing really saturated mixtures and just applying it directly. I like working in layers because I like the after effect where you can see all the layers showing through. And I think that's one of the qualities about watercolor that makes it really beautiful. The fact that it's transparent. I think you get the most beauty out of it when you play to that quality. Now, another reason why I'm doing two frogs is because I know that, especially when you're layering watercolor, it's very, very important that you give it time to dry. So I'm basically doing two frogs so I can work on one while the other one is drying. And when the other one dries, then I go back to it. And that's why, if you notice, in a lot of the tutorials I've done, there are generally at least two items or two things that I'm drawing or painting in one video, because I usually do that as a strategy to allow drying time without interrupting my process. You know, instead of stopping and allowing to dry, I can actually keep working, so I can work on one while the other is drying and go back and forth. Now, a little tip I'll share on the color mixing I use in this image, and it's that actually it's related to the color mixing video that I did, and it's that I usually use at least two types of greens, and you know, on the color spectrum, green blends into yellow, right, and on the other side it blends into blue. So I usually have a blue that mixes with yellow pretty well and one that mixes with blue pretty well. And in this case, I have cobalt green, which mixes with blue pretty well, and I have phthalo green. Now, in the parts of the frog that's like yellow or orangish, I use the phthalo green, and it makes it a lot more vibrant. And in the parts of the frog that's actually blue or violet, I use a cobalt green. Now, that's really subtle, but it does add to the overall harmony of the image and makes everything just seem to blend together pretty well, and it makes the image a lot more like just aesthetically pleasing. You know, the color seems to just flow into each other, and it's something I think is, you know, really important to be aware of. Now, if you notice, you know, now is when I start addressing details. You know, I spend most of my time establishing the structure, light and shadow, and so on, and the overall color composition that I'm comfortable with. And then that's when I go in and start, you know, carving out the details, and then going back with ink and start restating some of those outlines. And then, you know, I just feel like it's something that you should make sure it's a part of your practice. Like, leave details for last. It's tempting, but, you know, try to resist the temptation and leave it for last. Now I'm just touching up certain areas and adding little highlights and stuff like that with this white ink pen. And you know, this process is pretty much done, and it's just a matter of looking for little areas and being careful not to overdo this as well. All right. So if you enjoyed this, you learned something, or even was just inspired, please give the video a thumbs up below. I'd appreciate it. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do, so you can be updated with all the new content I'll be uploading. And thanks so much, everyone. I'll see you in the next video.